Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Casey and this is Movie Night Massacre. In between my recap videos, I thought it might be nice to do some just for fun videos. Not like my recap videos, which are incredibly serious pieces of art. This could be discussing upcoming films, it could be a quick recommendation, and in the case of today, it's going to be a nice YouTube-friendly list. Everyone loves those. Today, I would love for you guys to come with me on a journey to about 3 months ago, because I want to talk about my top 10 horror films of 2024, and I will not apologize for the date of recording. This video will not have spoilers. I'm hoping that some of my followers can discover some movies that they didn't get around to seeing last year and might like to check out. I thought 2024 was like a banner year for horror. Every time I would look at the streaming schedule or the theater schedule, it was just gem after gem coming out. So there's gonna be some films that might be missing from my list that are on your list. Know that I've almost certainly seen it and loved it as well, but I can only fit so many in the top 10. With all that said, this is my top 10 horror films of 2024, the best of the best. Let's get started. Number 10, Late Night with the Devil.
On Halloween night, 1977, America gathered around for a live TV event that shocked a nation. What happened was real. What you are about to see is the recently discovered master tape of what went to air that night.
Please be warned, anyone with young children in the room. Go to commercial! What you're about to see.
You okay, Jack?
Is profoundly disturbing and shocking.
You get out there, Mr. Midnight, and you knock him dead.
Late Night with the Devil technically got festival releases in late 2023, but it didn't get a wider public release until March of 2024, so in my opinion, it does get to be on this list. It was written and directed by two brothers, Colin and Cameron Cairns, and it follows David Dismalchin as Jack Delroy. Jack Delroy is the 1977 host of a late-night talk show, and he's doing a Halloween program, and that Halloween program starts to spiral a little bit as time goes on and evil takes over the studio. A big initial draw for this one was the production design and post-treatment to try and make it feel like a period-authentic 1977 broadcast. Nostalgia in general was a key marketing factor, which is really common in filmmaking right now in general, but this one really tried to go the extra mile to make the viewer feel like they're sitting in their living rooms in the 70s watching this take place and get out of control. The wardrobe and set design and 3-camera shooting structure pulled a lot of weight on this, but it is worth noting that they shot this digitally, so they had to do quite a lot of post-treatment to the footage to give it that warm, fuzzy 70s look that we grew up with. That said, I am one of the people that feels like they could have pushed it even a little bit further for better authenticity, but I did still appreciate and enjoy the final product. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, the director stated that in the 70s and 80s, there was something slightly dangerous about late-night TV. Talk shows in particular were a window into some strange adult world. We thought combining that charged, live-to-air atmosphere with the supernatural could make for a uniquely frightening film experience. I definitely felt that while watching this. I also drew a comparison to Ghostwatch from 1992, which pretty similarly asked the viewer to be a live audience participant in this what should be totally normal television program that over the course of the evening devolves into total madness. This one was pretty unique. I did feel like it could capitalize further on that authentic 1970s look, but I did still really like what I saw. I would give Late Night with the Devil 3 out of 5 skulls. Number 9, Smile 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sky Riley, you are in the middle of a big world tour. You okay?
I keep seeing this face everywhere.
911, what's your emergency?
I've traced the string of deaths to you. Nobody has survived longer than a week.
Sky, pull it together and get back out there. No, I will not let this thing use me. I need to stop it, but I don't know how.
Smile 2 is the follow-up to 2022's Smile and is an ambitious departure from the scope of its predecessor. The film follows a Taylor Swift-style pop superstar Sky Riley as she balances fame, a troubled past, and a rash of increasingly disturbing events. Reality comes into question as Riley's descent continues, leaving the audience to wonder if they can believe what they're seeing. I think Naomi Scott looks and plays this role of Sky Riley perfectly. It was the high point of the movie for me, so thank you for your service to the casting director. We also get to see Ray Nicholson, who's Jack Nicholson's son, and Lucas Gage, who some of you may have just seen in Companion 2025. My kind of controversial opinion on this movie, maybe it's controversial, is that I think the jump scares were well executed. I know that a lot of people, including myself, are a little bit fatigued with jump scares as a trope, especially when they're lazy and you're just getting a loud noise blasted at you. But I thought that Smile 2 did a really good job building tension as Sky Riley is becoming more and more paranoid. The audience, likewise, is starting to distrust what they're seeing with their eyes. And the payoff to that in the jump scares, a lot of the visuals are very genuinely frightening. They're kind of dreamlike in a lot of ways. So while I think we can all agree that jump scares are a little overrated, a little overdone, I do think that Smile 2 deserves some credit for how well they did theirs. This movie is going to keep you guessing until the very last minute. I was having a really good time just trying to figure out what was real and what was not. And I do think it's a good group watch candidate if you have like-minded friends who are also into horror. For that reason, I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5 skulls. Number 8, Maxine.
Name 5 celebrities who got their start in horror movies.
Jamie Lee Curtis, John Travolta, Demi Moore, Brooke Shields, and
Maxine fucking Minx.
I don't like walking out here with that freaking Night Stalker guy on the loose.
The Night Stalker.
Night Stalker?
Night Stalker. He's terrorizing Los Angeles.
My employer is a very powerful man. The past ain't finished with you. It's gonna keep knocking at your door.
If I tell you something, we've got confidentiality.
What'd you do?
Maxine!
Maxine.
Maxine.
Maxine. Maxine.
You're a fucking movie star.
Maxine is the third entry in writer, director, and editor Ty West X series. It follows Maxine Minx, a carryover character from 2022's X, in 1985 Los Angeles during the height of the Night Stalker murders. Maxine is a budding actress trying to break out of adult film and into the mainstream, and she's willing to knock down anything that stands in her way. But her past also might come back to haunt her. This one might be a little controversial. I know a lot of people felt underwhelmed by it in comparison with X and Pearl, but the combination of like slummy 1980s Hollywood, the giallo adjacent style of it, and just the vicious drive of Maxine Minx, the main character, to me it was a really nice combination of elements, and I ended up really liking it a lot. The music selection in this film is really good. I really like the use of Obsession by Animotion in the trailer, and the trailer itself is excellent. I mean, between me, you, and God, I probably watched that trailer like 10 or 15 times just hyping myself up on it. The entire cast did a good job on this one, but I gotta give a special shout out to Mia Goth, who just continues to carry. She has such a unique and strong look and screen presence every time she's in a scene. To me, she is the modern scream queen. You definitely need to see X and Pearl before seeing Maxine. I think that's the only way to really get the fully packed punch out of it, so do not watch this one in a vacuum. At the end of the day, I do think that Maxine is probably the weakest of the X trilogy, but that said, I got a lot of enjoyment out of it, and I would absolutely put it on this list. For that reason, I'm going to give Maxine 3.5 out of 5 skulls. Number 7, Speak No Evil.
This is my husband, Ben.
I'm Patrick Feld. This is my wife, Kira.
You have to come and visit us. The West Country, really, it's beautiful.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's so quiet around here. I've always wanted a family like yours.
Mom, something's not right with him.
What is wrong with you?
I want to pack up the car, and I want to leave now.
I know we can both be...
A bit much.
Speak No Evil is a modern-day tale of two families meeting during their vacations in Italy. When the American family, the Daltons, are invited to Patty's country estate in Devon, they're excited to accept. But the idyllic getaway turns sinister as the host family's behavior grows more and more bizarre. This film was directed by James Watkins, who also directed The Woman in Black from 2012 and Eden Lake from 2008. Horror fans who have seen Eden Lake will probably be able to draw some parallels when it comes to the creeping sense of unease and danger in an unfamiliar place. I think this kind of movie really commands your attention. You get this intense sense of vulnerability on behalf of the Daltons, and it's like sitting in a pressure cooker for the entire runtime. I mean that in a good way. And the film really asked both you as the viewer and the Dalton family to reconcile their human instinct to detect danger with, I guess, what I would call the limits of social cordialness. And this all unfolds at an agonizing pace, again, in a good way, and you're on the edge of your seat the entire time. There's very little stress reprieve. The whole cast in this is great, but again, I got to give a special shout out to James McAvoy. He really carried the energy of this film with his performance. And I think that in general, the movie is a good candidate for a group watch. Again, if you have friends who are also into horror, being able to watch this mystery, this danger unfold while, theorizing with your friends, I think that's really fun. That's how I prefer to watch movies like this. And for that reason, I would give this 4 out of 5 skulls. Number 6, Oddity.
Why do you want it?
He took my sister's life. I want to see what was going through his mind. You said I should visit on Danny's anniversary.
The thought of another patient showing up at the front door here.
Would you allow them in?
Of course not.
My sister would never allow a strange man into her home in the middle of the night.
What is this?
Put them back! This is not real.
Set in modern Ireland, Oddity tells the story of a woman's brutal murder and her sister, a blind medium, searching for the truth about her death. In her grief and drive for answers, she retreats to the country estate where it took place, bringing with her a sinister wooden mannequin from her collection of curios. Oddity was written and directed by Damien McCarthy, who's also known by horror fans for his 2020 film Caveat. Damien McCarthy is a merchant of dread, and I mean that as an extremely high compliment. Both of his films, especially Oddity, are just steeped in this absolutely relentless sense of dread that you will feel physically in your gut as you're watching it. When I was watching Oddity, I had this stress tension in my shoulders that I didn't even know was there until the film ended and it suddenly released. And I realized I'd just been sitting there totally tensed up the entire time. You're also going to find yourself like looking into the background and shadows of shots as you grow more paranoid with the character. You feel like you're on this journey with her. And as she's uncovering the dangers of this house, it just starts ratcheting up and up and up, and you never know what might come from where. I, of course, recommend every movie on this list because it's my list, but Oddity in particular sticks out to me because it made me feel pretty genuine fear. When you're a horror fan, sometimes you watch hundreds or thousands of these movies, and you can get a little bit desensitized. It's kind of hard to find that feeling. But when I was watching Oddity, I was tense. I was locked in on that couch alone. Really excellent work from McCarthy. I'm really excited to see what he's working on next. I know he's got another film in the works already. And he is just he's got a true talent for suspense and terror. I'm going to give Oddity 4.5 out of 5 skulls. Number 5, Heretic.
Are you interested in learning more about the Church of Jesus Christ?
Come on in.
We can't come inside unless another woman is present.
My wife is home. Does that count?
Great.
You like pie?
Yeah.
My wife has pie in the oven.
I could tell that you are a very spiritually curious person.
I think it is good to be religious, to find your faith in a doctrine you actually believe.
Well, our work here is done.
Now, I will go and check on the pie.
So sleep, silent angel.
Heretic is a slow burn thriller turned horror following two Mormon missionaries who visit the house of a charismatic elderly man to convert him to their faith. As they continue keeping his company, they find that both his congenial personality and his quaint home are deeper and darker than they realized. This film was directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods, who are also known for writing contributions on A Quiet Place, Haunt, and The Boogeyman. Hugh Grant completely steals the show in this, and that's high praise considering the fact that Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East both did a fantastic job as well. He was the perfect casting choice for this as the gentle, unassuming, but cultured neighbor, and his ability to grow that role into what it becomes over the course of the film is really great. This film has a really great sense of isolation to it. It really helps you get invested in the predicament of these characters as they are pulling that thread and unraveling the sweater of what is going on in Hugh Grant's house. It completely flew by for me. I was really engaged with it the entire time. And for those reasons, I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 skulls. Number 4, Strange Darling.
Do you have any idea the kind of risks a woman like me takes every time she agrees to have a little fun?
Never thought about it that way.
Of course you haven't. You're not a woman.
Love hurts.
You seem like a nice guy.
Love scars.
But the real issue is safety.
Love wounds.
That's life or tough.
And more.
So I'm gonna have to ask you a question. Are you a serial killer?
I'm in control.
Don't say it out loud.
Gotcha.
I know it isn't true.
Like Late Night with the Devil, Strange Darling had a festival release in late 2023, but didn't really go public until fall of 2024, so I'm gonna count it and put it on my list. Strange Darling tells its story non-linearly or out of order, which invites the viewer to slowly unravel and piece together a larger puzzle as it progresses. It's a little tough to meaningfully summarize this one without spoilers, but the basic gist is that a bizarre one-night stand develops into a killing spree and game of cunning. This film was directed by J.T. Molnar, whose other work I'm not personally familiar with, so this was a strong first impression that makes me excited for whatever he plans on cooking up next. This is essentially a duo film. We're primarily with two characters the entire time, and those are played by Willa Fitzgerald and Kyle Gallner. I think they both did a really nice job. I actually really like Willa Fitzgerald's performance in the first half of the movie. She's good the whole time, but that first half really sets up the energy for the rest of the film in a great way. This portion of the video is actually going to be a little bit shorter than the other film segments, and that's because Strange Darling is very difficult to talk about without spoiling it. I think it's incredibly important to go into this with as little information as possible, because a big part of the fun of engaging with nonlinear storytelling is coming up with your own theories as to what is going on and how the movie's going to conclude. You're in for a wild ride, that's all I'll say, and you're going to be revising all of those theories a lot as the movie progresses. I would give Strange Darling 4 out of 5 skulls. Number 3, Immaculate.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Hello?
You are with child.
Out of all the women in the world, why did he choose me? How can we trust what's inside you?
You should love.
Immaculate features Cecilia, a devout young woman joining a convent in the Italian countryside. As she settles into her new life of faith, the idyllic setting slowly turns sinister as she discovers the secrets hidden inside. The sense of dread and isolation that builds up over the first 2 acts is incredibly suffocating, and it really creates this pervasive sense of just pure desperation for Cecilia as she's trapped in this aged and beautiful but ominous convent. It's really a house of faith and a prison at the same time. There's also striking religious imagery in this film, of course, because it's set in a convent, and I've been thinking about that literally since I saw it early last year. I mean, you've got throughout the course of the film a combination of these beautiful frame compositions and wardrobe and lighting all working together to create what sometimes feels like a living painting. Sydney Sweeney was actually critical to getting this film off the ground, and I don't just mean as the star. She actually auditioned for Immaculate in 2014, but it got tabled. It never entered production. And it was only later in her career as she started merging into the producer side of things that she actually contacted the writer again, and they worked together to revise the script, get financing, and ultimately sell to Neon. So thank you, Sydney, for your service. We all really appreciate it. Immaculate is tight, it's engaging, it's really beautiful to look at. I think it ultimately ends up hitting all the boxes, and for that reason, I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5 skulls. Number 2, Nosferatu.
Professor, my dreams grow darker. Does evil come from within us, or from beyond?
He is coming. He is coming to us.
He's coming.
Who is coming to my child? Nosferatu.
Nosferatu follows the plot of the original Dracula novel with the acquired changes from the 1922 and 1979 Nosferatu films. In the 1830s, estate agent Thomas Hutter, who's also known as Jonathan Harker, travels to Transylvania to meet with the mysterious Count Orlok, who's trying to acquire property in his fictional home city of Wisburg, Germany. He and his companions soon discover that Orlok is not their average customer, and a story of adventure, survival, and dread ensues as they try to defeat the evil force while it stalks Ellen, his beloved bride. Nosferatu is one of 2024's latest entries. It came in really hot on Christmas of 2024, but I still think a lot of people made a very fast and very strong connection with it. This was directed by Robert Eggers, who did 2 other films that I really love called The Witch and The Lighthouse. He's really been building his reputation with filmgoers and with studios alike, so now we're getting a high-budget, sweeping concept version of a tried-and-true classic. For those who may not know, Nosferatu 1922 is actually an unauthorized adaptation of the Dracula novel. They ended up losing a copyright infringement lawsuit after it released, even though they tried to change some things in the story to make it legally distinguishable. So as a result, Nosferatu 2024 is kind of a blend of both properties. You get the story plot points from Dracula, but then we get to keep the oppressive, menacing Count Orlok from the Nosferatu adaptation, but this time with a new design spin. I really love Bill Skarsgård's performance in this. He has this disgusting, massive, shambling presence in every scene that he's in, and it really fills you with this sense of claustrophobia and dread that I'm not used to feeling with vampire films. The locations for the story are all really ambitious, but I think pulled off successfully, especially Orlok's castle and the fictional city of Wisburg in Germany. They all feel very oppressive, but also very grand at the same time. So I really commend the production design, art department, and visual effects teams for bringing that to life. I think it really contributes to making this film feel like event viewing. Nosferatu would go on to get Academy Award nominations for cinematography, hair and makeup, costume design, and production design, though at the time of recording this video, the awards haven't happened yet. So we all have our fingers crossed for you, Eggman. As a personal aside, this movie made me constantly think of the video game Bloodborne, which is one of my favorite games of all time. I actually ended up playing all the way through the game again with the DLC after seeing Nosferatu, just to kind of scratch the itch. Nosferatu feels sweeping, it feels grand, it feels like event viewing, it's beautiful to look at. I thought all the performances were great. For this reason, I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5 skulls. Number 1, The Substance.
Have you ever dreamt of a better version of yourself? Younger, more beautiful, more perfect.
Pretty girls should always smile.
The Substance is a body horror film about an aging fitness video star who is cast aside by her agency and left to come to terms with the next phase of her life. Unable to cope, she turns to a mysterious black market drug, the Substance, which creates a second body and life for her with unexpected side effects. This film was written, produced, and directed by Coralie Farjah, whose first feature film, Revenge, was distributed in 2017 and later picked up by Shudder. So this is only Farjah's second feature film, and holy shit, what a masterpiece it is. This film is pulverizing. It's disgusting. It's funny. It's sad. It's buck wild. And it's relatable to so many women from so many walks of life. Fundamentally, this film grapples with being discarded by a society that only puts material value on women through their appearance and their availability to men. The subtext here is loud and proud. It is front and center the entire time, and it's told through increasingly disturbing and masterful body horror. Body horror, and I mean truly visceral body horror, not just gory torture fest, had really significant prominence in the 80s, but has since become a little bit of a lost art. Then, Farjah and her special effects designer Pierre-Olivier Persine came screaming onto the scene, and it's beyond successful. There were moments in this movie where I felt physically sick, but unable to look away from the fascinating beauty and narrative of the rest of the film. If I had to compare the body horror to anyone, it probably would be David Cronenberg, though Farjah and Persine deserve to be spoken about on their own merits. The performances from the entire cast are excellent, but Demi Moore really rises to the top spectacularly. I think she is absolutely the perfect casting choice for this, and she embraced it fully. She is devastating to watch, and when you want to look away, you just can't. Substance has gone on to receive 5 Golden Globe nominations and 1 win for Demi Moore, as well as Academy Award nominations for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress, Best Hair and Makeup, and Best Original Screenplay. So Coralie, baby girl, I'm rooting for you. The whole horror community is rooting for you. You absolutely deserve the hell out of this one. The Substance is fantastic in all ways that it could be. It ticks every box, and I cannot stress that enough. I hope that the entire team from pre to post-production is proud of what they've created, especially the ripple effect this is having outside of the genre community. For that reason, I am giving The Substance 5 out of 5 skulls. So that is my top 10 of 2024 for horror movies. I hope you discovered something in there that maybe you didn't get the chance to see and can now check out on your own time. This has been a spin-off episode of Movie Night Massacre. My name is Casey, and this is the kind of video where you might have your own thoughts on it. So if you have your own top 10, drop it in the comments. I would love to see what you liked in 2024. So until I see you next time, stay safe and stay spooky. Thank you.